What's it like to be with the same person for this long, like since high school?
Start what would it be over. Like? I'm amazing.
You're amazing. That's the secret, everybody. What do we share? What do we not share? Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, and I'll blur that line real quick.
I know. I was 45 when she was born, but 44 when I conceived. I had people say things to me like, I had no idea it was your second marriage.
The first guy got stale. You needed a new guy to knock you up.
So tell the truth. What's the truth?
I'm pussy whipped.
I'm just going to say it because this comes up all the time. Have either of you ever been unfaithful?
Either I'm in menopause or I'm pregnant. I was like, well, maybe we should find out.
Welcome to the first episode of Then and Now. I'm Patty.
And I'm Larry. And today we're going to go back down memory lane to when we first met and bring you up to date as to how we got here. 40 years ago, summer of 1985.
40 years ago.
40 years ago.
I wasn't even doing the math.
Yep.
That's crazy. So basically what we're going to do right now is just do like a recap real fast of 40 years.
Yeah.
So how we got here personally and professionally, and how we came to have 2 million followers on social media, which still is crazy to me. Yeah, I think, where do we start?
40 years ago.
I think for like the personal timeline, I think it should be from your perspective, because on my platforms, whose perspective is every storytelling, it's from my perspective. Yes. Like even we just did our, it was like a year and a half ago, our first kiss video, entirely from my perspective. Even though it's like shared experience, we have different perspectives. So I want to hear your perspective. Well, but you have to be fast, because 40 years is a lot to cover in a short time.
My perspective was that summer in 1985, Maine Beach, where someone was like, oh, that's Patty. They call you Patty Schmidt. That's Patty Avery. I was like, wow, look at her. She's cute. And I remember seeing you and sort of walking by and taking a glance. And then from there, I don't really have a great recollection of the rest of it, but it stems back to your parents' house then, that we met with some friends in your basement.
Mm-hmm. On your moped?
On my moped. You know, we've documented it, but we had very different musical tastes at the time.
Mm-hmm. But wait a second. Did you come to that wasn't the first time we were together. The first time was at the beach.
Yeah, at Maine Beach. But then after, like, my first recollection after that is in your basement at your house.
Yeah. Okay. Carry on.
And then we were together. We dated. We were on and off.
Why were we on and off?
Because I was not very intelligent at the time. I was the on and offer. You know, we were young. We were in high school. I wasn't ready to settle down yet.
Yeah. Well, why would you be? You were 16. Like, why would you be ready to settle down?
You know, you always say that my brain is like Swiss cheese. So you'll probably need to do some more interjecting then to keep us on track here. Yeah, high school was, you know, we dated on and off. I had other girlfriends.
Such a player.
But then when you started to play hard to get, it was like reeled me back in. Like I think I started to see the light. Well,
then you went to college, University of Redlands, and you were worried about me moving on or whatever. That was sort of like the turning point. You wrote me all these letters and you came home, and then I was originally going to go to University of Southern Florida. I can't remember.
Southern Florida.
I had in my head I was going to go to Florida to college. So then you switched to go to Florida State.
Yes.
You were going to go to Florida State because I was going to be in Florida. Then I got into Rosemont, and I just kind of like dropped my applications and decided I wanted to go to Rosemont so I could be close to home.
I thought your dad pulled the plug on Florida.
Maybe he did. I don't really remember.
That's what because my only option was Florida State. That was it.
Yeah.
Then you dropped Florida, and I was stuck going to Florida State because I didn't really have any other choice.
And that was when you drove to Rosemont in Pennsylvania every 2 weeks?
Every other weekend. Sort of. I think I did it for the fall semester, probably. I guess I did it 4 times, maybe.
Yeah. And then
4 or 5 times.
And then you switched to Brookdale
Community College.
Yeah. Followed me all the way to Pennsylvania and went to Temple.
But the funny thing was I drove home from Florida State, picked you up in Pennsylvania, we went home to New Jersey, and your family didn't even know you would come home. We would sneak into town and out of town without them ever knowing.
Oh my God. But that was because they were still like so strict with me, and I didn't have a whole lot of freedom. Like if I was home, I had to be like,
you
really?
weren't in my bed.
I wasn't in your bed. Oh my God. I'm going to get in trouble. I'm going to get in trouble. You came to Pennsylvania, and then my senior year, you repeated a year. So did we graduate the same year?
Well, I lost, because I went to community college, I lost some credits. So then I had to make up a year. So I was on the 5-year plan. So we did graduate together.
But then Christmas Eve, my senior year, that's when we got engaged.
Yeah.
right?
Yeah, so that was, I picked you up at your parents' house to go, I guess it was just your mom's house at that point, and to go to Christmas Eve dinner with my family.
Was it a shipwreck that you told me there was? You told me that, or was it a whale?
No, there was a boat that washed up on the beach. I said we needed to go to see the boat that washed up on the beach. And that was at the beach where I first laid eyes on you. And I went to the bench where I first saw you. Mm-hmm. And I got down on my knees and put you on the bench and asked you to marry me.
So romantic. So that was that. And then we had to speed it up. So we were planning a wedding. My parents were planning a divorce. I kind of got over the big wedding thing. And then whoops.
Yeah. Well, whoops. It wasn't the big wedding thing. It was sort of
then I got pregnant. And we sped up the wedding.
Deciding factor.
And then the rest is history, right?
Yeah, but I remember we found out that you were pregnant. Pregnant. We found out you were pregnant 2 days before I was leaving for Mexico for 2 weeks of surfing. Yeah. And you had to live with that.
And I couldn't tell anybody because we were like freaked out a little bit and what we were going to do.
And then we went out we went to lunch with your mom and my mom. I'll never forget it. And they're like, oh, we need to start talking about wedding plans. And they're like, so you're thinking next September, right? And we were like, well, we're sort of gonna have to bump it up a little bit.
We didn't really have to. We could have. People do things out of order all the time now.
We chose to bump it up a little.
And then we had the 3 boys. And then eventually I started a photography business and had 3 miscarriages. That was in my 30s. We had the wonderful surprise of our daughter.
17 years
and
later.
It kind of overlaps, like the platform stuff and TikTok and everything, right? Basically, I was a portrait photographer when, at the time I got pregnant with Avery, I had a studio and it did really well. Like I was super busy, but I was also kind of burning out and kind of looking for a different creative outlet because I was really burning out on the hours that I worked with that at the time. So then I started sharing my story, like
but before that, even before that, like while you had the photography business, like you were on Instagram and you were.
I was on Instagram, but I had my account was private. Like I started sharing more like personal stuff when I got pregnant because people were like interested in this. Like we had these 3 grown boys, and I started just sharing more like personal photography and connecting with other moms. So my following started to grow like pretty quickly. And I remember at the time thinking like, okay, so I'm going to have to move on from what I'm doing right now as far as like, I knew I was going to be closing the studio and doing something else. And I remember at the time thinking, well, all these photographers are following me and all these moms who want to learn how to take better photos of their kids. So maybe I will just like encourage the followers and I'll teach photography or I'll sell actions or whatever.
Actions. You did the actions.
Yeah. So, and I also did some like mentoring and some teaching. And so that was like the route that I thought I was going to go. And then when I got to like between 5,000 and 10,000 followers, that's when like brands started reaching out. And I realized like, oh, this could be, I can do like work with brands. And it just kind of snowballed from there.
5,000 or 10,000.
Right? 5,000 or 10,000. Well, that's what it was.
That was big numbers.
Yeah. And then I downloaded TikTok in 2019. September 2019. Do you remember our first TikTok? It's not even on my account anymore.
I don't remember our first TikTok, but I remember when you were hot for TikTok and we were in the Bahamas and we were at the Coral House.
But that was afterwards.
That was afterwards, but that's when you wanted to get, you told the boys like, this is going to be big. Like,
Instagram at the time was still just photography, and it was like the perfectionism and it was different. It was like creative photos, and like even Instagram itself had like the weekend hashtag project. Remember I got featured by them and everything blew up. But remind me where I was going with this.
You were going the first TikTok you ever did.
The first TikTok. Okay, so we were in the car. Avery was in the back seat, and we put on Willie Nelson's "On the Road Again," and we just started like vibing to Willie Nelson, and we posted it. I was like, oh, that's so cute, and I posted it. And then I don't know why it's not there anymore or why I don't have it. I must have deleted it at some point. I don't have it. Anyway,
this would be the perfect place to insert a clip of it.
Oh my God, that would be so fun. But so I was still just like fully photography. I knew nothing about making videos. When we first were on TikTok, I wasn't ever thinking like, oh, I could have a following here. I could get really good at short form videos and I could, this is a totally different thing I can be doing. No, I just was enjoying it like everybody else. It was like the hardest I ever laughed. It was just, TikTok was so funny in then it got to be 2020 and quarantine happened.
Yeah.
And I don't remember ever in my life laughing harder than at TikToks at TikTok comment sections, or like in 2020, we had a lot of free time because we were trapped at home. And it was like, that was when like the fun trends were really big. And so we just kind of filled our time with doing that. And we laughed so hard.
There's one other time that sort of, we laughed really hard. And now I didn't even think about that till you just said this now. But when we did our cross country blog and we would sit up at night and post photos on our blog, and we were in hysterics.
Yeah, so that was really funny.
That was sort of like the precursor to.
Yeah. So I had like, at this time, like early 2020, I had like 50,000 followers on Instagram, which was still entirely photography, like creative photos, which I loved. Do you remember like how many like, and the boys were so accommodating. I would just do like creative photos of like the Big Brothers and baby Avery. And I don't know, that was just, and then so TikTok was so different. I remember they had a trending page at the time. It was so much more fun then. But my friend Carolyn sent me a video it was called Dating Storytime. Do you remember?
I don't.
It was called Dating Storytime, and basically you would put like a whole montage, like a slideshow of pictures of your relationship from the time you started dating to the present, like narrate your story over it. She said, you should do this. And I was like, oh, I have a good dating story. I'll try. And I don't know if you remember, but I shut myself in the back bedroom at the beach house.
I remember.
And you were like, what are you doing in there? I was like, shh, trying to figure out how to record my voice. And so I recorded this. And at the time, I probably had like 50 or 100 followers on TikTok, you know? I was doing it purely for fun. It was like a little like creative challenge. I found all the pictures and I posted it. And it was the one that started like this. We met when I was 14 and he was just turning 16.
That pedophile.
That turned into like a big thing. But anyway, long story short, I made this video thinking like, I don't know, all of my 100 followers would see it. 24 hours later, it was at 10 million views. And I overnight went from almost no followers on TikTok to over 100,000. It was just insane. It was like my first experience like of being just like how bad trolling could get and like just the weirdness when something goes viral. What did you think at the time? Weren't you thinking, oh, well, that was a fluke. That was kind of different, but that's never going to happen again, you know?
Exactly. I was blown away by it, but didn't expect anything else to come of it.
Nothing at all. And I remember like thinking like, what am I going to follow that up with? Like now that I have these 100,000 people following me, I was like, I don't know how to make videos. Guess I got to figure it out. And that was it. And it kind of spilled over to Instagram. And then for whatever reason, I guess it was just because we had a different story, you know, like the baby coming again later in life after losses, and then like the Big Brothers, and then like the freaking costume stuff. Like we just had like a few more mega virals at that time.
Well, I mean, if you think about it, like the whole dating perspective for most of the TikTok videos at that time was like, we've been dating for a year, we've been dating 2 years, and you go back 14, so it was like, what, 35 years of dating.
And I didn't really orient in that video to where we were ending up. I just started, like, and it probably was like, it just kept going. And then it was like, at the time it was like 27 years or something. Yeah, so it just kind of snowballed. And then Instagram started Reels and YouTube started Shorts. So I like kind of started posting things on other platforms. And then like now here I am, like signed with an agency, and like I never knew where it was going until I got there.
But I think part of it too was that we were just on lockdown. Like if you had that viral and there wasn't really, you know, the time to sit and do the funny trends and devote the time to it, it might not have gone where it went.
Probably not.
Like we had the time to devote it because we were locked down. I mean, we couldn't go anywhere, so we had fun with it. And that, I think that the initial momentum carried through by staying on, like with the funny trends and the things like that.
Yeah, but that's like kind of like in a really tiny nutshell how we got here, right? Like I don't know. It's just like somebody recently commented on one of my videos something like, how did this nice lady get all these followers? I don't understand. And I was like, I don't understand either. If you figure it out, let me know. But basically it comes down to like over the course of 5 years, so 2025 now. So in the last 5 years, probably like 10 mega viral videos. And by mega viral, I mean like 10 million views or more. Basically, every single follower I've gotten, like past the first few thousand on Instagram, was from viral videos. And not even that many. Like it's crazy how something can just go bonkers. And the most recent one being our prom video, which I think the last time I looked across 3 platforms, that was like 200 and something million or something.
That's crazy.
Right?
Yeah.
So,
but I think
that's
a contributing factor when you say, how did this nice lady end up with all these followers? Like, you are an amazingly nice lady, but also super intelligent and well thought out with everything you do. So it's not like...
To a fault.
Not like it's flukes that we're here. Like, the virals all had a tremendous amount of thought that go into them before they go viral. So it's
like both helped me and hurt me, I guess, because overthinking and being too careful with everything also causes me to...
And lots of shh. I'm trying to figure out how to say how to get a voice recording.
I'm trying to figure out how to make a video. Oh my God. So how do we get so the podcast we've been talking about this for 2 years, and it just kept getting put on the back burner because so many things come up. Like, we have a big family, we have it just kept getting put on the back burner, right?
Well, also, you kept saying, I need to write more. I need a better outline. I need to have a better idea of what we're going to talk about. I mean, we did buy the first, I think these microphones we bought in August of 2023.
Right. But also, like, my initial idea, so when you become known for really short videos that just kind of scratch the surface of a story, we kind of have gotten like the same questions and comments for the last 5 years, like over and over and over again. And I remember thinking, like, if we just put out like 6 podcast episodes, we could answer all of these questions like once and for all really well. And I was just thinking, like, initially, we'll just do like, a collection of like 6 episodes, and we can just refer people to, like, we talk about that on here, because there's like a lot, right? A lot goes back to like, what's it like to be with the same person for this long, like since high school, and what's it like to start over.
Like? I'm amazing.
You are amazing. That's the secret, everybody. That's the secret. The secret to staying together for half a century is to just marry an amazing person.
It goes both
There's
ways.
a little more. There's a little more to it. But then there's that, and then there's people are very interested in the whole like baby in my 40s thing after like such a big age gap. People make all kinds of assumptions when they see, just the surface of something. There's so much more behind the scenes than what you see in a 15-second video.
I think a lot of people make assumptions like that I have a second wife.
A second wife?
It's not my daughter from my first marriage.
Right. Well, I had a photography client say to me when I first announced that I was pregnant I was 44. I was 45 when she was born, but 44 when I conceived. I had people say things to me like, I had no idea it was your second marriage.
The first guy got stale. You needed a new guy to knock you up.
Oh my God. Anyway, so did that cover our story up until now? Was there anything else you wanted? Because I want to get to some funny questions, just to scratch the surface of some of our most common questions and give an answer.
That's a good start.
We're going to dive deeper into some of these, right?
Yeah, we'll dive deeper, and I'm sure that we'll get feedback and people will want to know more about certain things.
Yeah. So
those drives from Florida to Pennsylvania are like a story in themselves.
Oh my God, we have some stories. Oh my God, we have some. That's the other thing we've been really thinking about, like, just like having a public platform, public accounts, and a private life. Like, believe it or not, wouldn't you describe me as a pretty private person?
Until now.
We're in our oversharing era. One of the reasons that we kept delaying this podcast and why I put off some of the content that I've been working on is I'm always second guessing, overthinking, not quite sure like where the line is. Like, what do we share? What do we not share? Do you know what I mean? Like,
yeah, and I'll blur that line real quick.
I know, you don't give a shit. Actually, that's one of I'm gonna go through some of our most common questions so we can just like give a quick answer to them. Like our hot takes.
Sounds good.
So speaking of that, me being like the overthinking one, I feel like it's so common on our videos for people to comment things like, Larry, blink twice if you need help. Yeah, like
help. Save me.
Like there's this, especially from like men commenting, there's just like this vibe that I have all these cringy ideas and I make you do it and you're just like pussy whipped or something. Like, do you know what I mean? Well, yeah. So tell the truth. What's the truth?
I'm pussy whipped.
Okay, well, that's true. But
not for videos.
Not for videos. You would literally post anything.
It's fun because I don't care. We have fun with it. It's a fun creative outlet. Like, I could never get up and do stand-up comedy, but I like to have fun. And I think this gives us an opportunity to have fun. And, you know, you deal with the comments after the fact. You don't deal with them while it's happening, but it is what it is. Like, they're comments. They can't hurt you.
Well, we have a lot of videos that have stayed in our drafts or that we just downloaded and kept for our own amusement. But if you had your way, they'd all be posted.
Absolutely.
Oh my God. Remember the dun 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 dun.
Should we put the disclaimer out there now? I mean,
no.
We've already talked about being pussy whipped. For friends and family, like, if you don't want to hear it, you can stop listening now.
Maybe I need to start like a TikTok version of like Finsta. You need a secret passcode to see it. But the funny thing about TikTok is like people get really comfortable because people, I don't know, like let their guards down. Like the things people talk about, it's like, oh my God, people are talking about this. I thought this was like something that nobody ever said out loud. Like people just talk about it.
The taboos.
It's a little bit like what happens in Vegas stays in Vegas, but what happens on TikTok stays on TikTok, except where you go and post stuff on Instagram that I was like, wait a second, that's not supposed to end up there.
One social media bleeds into the other. It's out there.
There's been a couple times on TikTok we got just slightly spicy, like not too bad, like PG-13 spicy, and it did not go over well with my mom. Like that one we made. I got in trouble with my mom and I had to take it down.
Some things never change.
Some things never change. Yeah, so I've gotten to show my juvenile humor side on TikTok, which it's fun. Sometimes something doesn't have to be taken too seriously. Like it's okay just to laugh about something like that's got value in itself, you know? I think it was Joan Rivers one time who said, when you make someone laugh, you give them like a mental vacation. Like it lowers your blood pressure and like it's true. It's like the humor there is really funny.
It's good humor. And there's definitely more we could do with it if you were a little bit more willing to let it all hang out.
Yeah.
But I guess sometimes...
Maybe we'll post some of the drafts.
Well, I guess sometimes it's nice that you keep me in check because I probably could get in trouble.
Oh, we would. Are you kidding me? We would be in serious trouble if we posted everything that you ever like wanted to post. Yeah. Okay, so let's get right into the most common things that come up on our videos. Well, that was one of them, this idea that you're my hostage and I'm making you do these videos with me. Poor Larry. Yeah, okay, so...
Nobody can see the ankle monitor.
The shackles.
The ankle monitor that I have on right now.
What nobody can see is how much he actually enjoys them. They put you in a really good mood. Okay, I'm going to go right from silly to heavy, but I'm just going to say it because this comes up all the time. Have either of you ever been unfaithful?
Nope.
No. Are you 100% certain that I haven't been unfaithful?
I mean, I would like to think I'm 100% certain that you haven't been unfaithful, okay. But I know from my perspective.
Well, I'm 100% sure I've never been unfaithful. I'm 99.9% sure you've never been unfaithful, and I'm going to explain why. I'm actually really 100% sure. Even though it feels like we share a brain, we actually don't. We actually don't share a brain. I have to remember sometimes that we don't. So do I really know the inside of your brain? No, but I'm 99.9% sure. The other thing is,
but do we even share that much of a brain?
What do you mean?
Only 0.1% that we don't share. I mean, there's probably a little bit less overlap, but
I don't know. How do people find out when someone's been unfaithful? Like, see something on their phone and like, oh my God, on my videos.
How about when you find a pregnancy?
Right. Oh, stop! That's not our story to tell. That's not our story to tell. Okay, so but then like years ago, I remember this has stayed in my memory. I saw a talk show. I want to say it was a long time ago, like early in our marriage. And maybe it was Oprah, maybe it was Phil Donahue, but it was basically a show about longtime married couples getting blindsided, like completely blindsided by affairs. And for whatever reason, that's stuck in my head. And again, that's why I say 99.9%. But no, I think what people want to know is, was there ever an incident that we had to get past? And because a lot of people have had that happen in their marriages. And I think people are, when they say that, some people are just rude. But I think sometimes people are hoping to hear that we did have an experience like that and how we got past it. But the answer to that is no. We've never had any kind of an experience like that.
No, you haven't had to get past anything like that.
But we both have had opportunities to be unfaithful, and there's some really funny stories about it, and maybe we should tell them. I think we're going to do a whole episode on this because there's so much to say about it. Like, I could read some comments we've gotten that are like, oh my God. But especially like Gen Z, like the younger generation, they seem to not believe that it's possible to be with one person for life. And it's so sad because like, it's like the hookup culture is so strong now.
Well, it's because there's like you can swipe. So let's find my next date. Like swipe. Yes, no.
So do you think when we were in college, the year we were long distance, do you think it would have made a difference in your being faithful to me long distance if there was like Tinder and all these apps? Do you think it would have made a difference? I mean, you kind of had game in high school and college. Like you kind of, you probably didn't need an app.
No, but it was, I mean, in college was when I saw my ways. Like, I don't know, maybe if I didn't see the ways that I was going to go, like, I don't know, who knows?
Yeah.
Developmentally, maybe, but it's hard to look back on it and say. Once I was committed, I was all in committed. App or not, I don't know. I don't think that would have had it. Once I knew that I was committed to you and wanted to be with you, I don't know that an app would have made any difference because there was plenty of, like you said, I mean, I'm not saying that I gained, but there was opportunity.
Yeah. Do you remember it's so funny. Okay, when we were first married and you were still bartending at Union Landing, there was like an older woman who was like had the hots for you.
She would sit at the end of the bar.
But she wasn't even like subtle. She would say blatant things to you like, come on, the things I could show you. And then you would just come home and tell me about it and I'd be like, oh my God. But really, at the time, she was an older woman, but we were 21. So she was probably like 35, like all of 35, which is so funny.
That was like before anybody knew what a cougar was. When did the term cougar come around?
I don't know.
She was a cougar.
She was a cougar before her time. But is 35 even a cougar? Because like now, I think you have to be 20. Like in your 50s to be a cougar.
Well, I mean, what were you?
35 is so young. It's crazy that we thought that was old. And then, do you remember? I'm not going to go into the details of this, but like when my friend had a baby who lived in Texas, and I went to fly there by myself. I think that might have been the first time I traveled alone. That would have been like 2014, and I flew to her to photograph her baby. The guy in the airport, oh my God, yes, he came on really strong. There's been a few incidents like that. And what's funny is like, is this what it's like? Do people like do this now? It seems like it. Like the way that people seem so, like they have such a hard time believing that you can be with one person for so long. And the confidence with which some dudes just think like, oh, it doesn't matter if you're married. It doesn't matter. I guess that's the way now. I don't know. It's kind of depressing.
It's funny because I like to see that, like it's so foreign to me. I guess because we've been married so long. Like I wouldn't be like the dude that thinks, oh, that's easy prey. Who cares if she's married? Yeah. I got her.
But I'm telling you, that was the vibe. And it happened to me at the grocery store too. A guy followed me.
Well, look at you. I mean, why wouldn't it? Should happen every day.
God. But I was at the grocery store. This was after that. I don't know, this is like maybe in the last 10 years, but it was so weird. This guy followed me. I didn't realize he was following me, but apparently he was following me in the grocery store, followed me to my car. And he like came over and like, he gave me like some really like forward compliments. And then he said, do you want to go have lunch? I was like, well, I'm married, but, and he was like, that's okay. I'm married too, or something weird. And I don't know. I just feel like the world is kind of cuckoo about stuff like that right now. But so these are the stories. We have stories like this that are kind of funny. But no, the answer is we have never dealt with one of us being unfaithful. I don't know. I feel like that's a topic we could probably say a lot about, but we'll save it for a whole episode.
A whole episode, huh?
A whole episode. Well, there's the side of it, like, do you believe in monogamy in 2025? There's that side of it. And then there's the side of it that I think we should talk more about because I have a lot of opinions about this. I don't think when you see two people who've been married for a million years or however long, it necessarily means that they're like blissfully happy. So I feel like it's easy to stay married, but it's harder to stay happily married and happy together. So I feel like that is probably a whole episode. Ups and downs in our experience with that.
I mean, there's definitely times when it's work.
What's work? Tell me what's work. Or should we save it for our other episode?
I think we can save it. We can dwell on it. It's not all.
We got to switch gears. We got to switch gears to something
well, you don't
really.
Like roses anyway. It's not.
I don't love roses. I really don't. Love roses.
It's not all Lily of the Valley and love.
It's not. Come on. Something a little sillier. These are probably the second most common comment question. Do you know where I'm going?
No. My hair.
Larry wears a wig. Larry wears a toupee. Larry dyes his hair. I hate your hair, but you refuse to cut it. Has he ever had short hair? I mean, it goes on and on and on. The comments are freaking hilarious. Literally, like, we know his ass is wearing a toupee. We know this, we know that.
It's funny because it's not a toupee. It's real.
There's no toupee. I've had gray hair since I was like 35, but it's like in a big patch. So I'm probably like, I have like patches of it. But it's like, I would say I'm like 50% gray. You're probably like 4% gray, 2% gray.
I think you said I was up to 8 the other day.
You might be up to 8. I was really digging in there to see because I think it's funny. But I'm kind of jealous because it's perfectly even. It's like evenly spread throughout, this like very minimal amount of gray. And it would be so much easier for me to color my hair if mine was like yours, but it's not. But your hair was a lot more vibrant when we were younger, like bright, a lot brighter red. So this is like your version of gray. It was like an orangey color. But this is like your version of gray. It's just slowly over time becoming a little desaturated, but it's still not gray because it probably never will be because of just the way your hair is. So this is something that it just occurred to me recently, why I've always preferred you with long hair. Well, aside from the fact that I just like long hair, your mom, since I met her as a teenager, has had super short, like high, tight haircut. Rest her soul. I'm talking to her like she's still here. But anyway, and you always looked like her. Like you always looked like your mom, and she had super short hair. And the older you get, the more you look like her. And it just would not work for me for you to get like a high and tight haircut because I loved her dearly, but I don't want to like sleep with her. Do you know what I mean? Like
you'd be an infidel.
I think for this video clip, I'm going to find a picture of you and your mom. Somebody commented recently that you need a taper fade or some kind of haircut.
A big boy haircut.
Yeah, you need a big boy haircut. I had to Google what it meant, and I was like, yeah, no, my mother-in-law, not happening. Like I would literally rather you be cue ball, like just shave it, be shiny bald, than have a haircut like your mom. I mean, isn't that fair?
Yeah.
I think that's fair. And then the one time...
The one time I did cut it short, 6th grade, the Manasquan Little League, the Braves. I was a Brave, and I shaved my head. And it was so bad. My ears got so sunburnt that they just scabbed over and bled. And my hair grew in straight out like this. So I would take a shower at night and put on a ski hat to go to bed to sleep to get it to lay down.
Oh my God.
Grew. It was like a chia pet, and it was the worst. And never again.
But you had it pretty short right before I met you, because I've seen pictures of you at like the toga party where it was pretty short.
We do have it. That was...
it wasn't like shaved
it was
short,
like a
but
bowl.
it was...
It was a short bowl.
Yeah.
I had the small salad bowl for that cut.
Yeah, but I have always loved your hair. And in fact, somebody said, it was probably the first thing that I was attracted to you about was your damn hair. It's also been a lot longer. Like, it's funny, like the way that it's been now for the past few years, people always ask, has his hair ever been short? And I'm like, no, well, this is short. Like your hair at one point, even when we were married, you had really long hair at one point, like long.
Yeah, that was like when I dislocated my ankle. So that was like 2001, 2002. It was really long. Mm-hmm. And then I had the mullet. Remember you cut the mullet for the day?
Oh my God, for the day before you cut it all off. That should cover that. And you've never dyed it. You've never
dyed it. I did have extensions in when we did the prom photo.
Oh yes, so that's true. The prom, and 2 other videos we put that on for.
The Disney Prince one, right?
Yes. So for the prom video, I found like a clip-on at Amazon that was your exact color, and I clipped it in, and then I like trimmed it to be like a mullet.
To fit.
It looked real enough that so many people thought that you really had that look still right now.
Yeah, they thought I grew it for that.
All right, have we covered your hair? Is your hair covered? Okay, next.
I think so.
The next most common question, and again, I think this could be a whole episode. Did I have IVF to conceive Avery at age 44, or conversely, and these comments sometimes get kind of rude about her being, we know who the accident was. She was neither IVF nor an accident, and the real ones know the story, right? Like our real friends and longtime followers know. I mean, long story short, after we had Gavin, I had some health problems. I'm going to talk about periods. I hope nobody minds. I had really heavy, debilitating periods. I know. Sometimes people get offended though. But anyway, so I had really, really bad periods, like where I couldn't get up off the couch. It was like I was going to hemorrhage, and really bad cramps. And on top of that, I went from having 3 babies in a row, and I always wanted 4. I was hoping for a 4th, especially because by the time Gavin was 2, we were now in our 30s, and I feel like everybody we knew, like our siblings, our friends, everybody had babies in their 30s. And I was like, oh, this is going to be fun. I'm going to have one more baby and I'm going to finally get to have like a baby the same time as my friends because everyone else is starting to have kids now. And I couldn't get pregnant anymore. And that on top of just like heavy bleeding and the issues. And I went like years and years without conceiving, found out I had like endometriosis. I had like a whole freaking garden. Like I had like all kinds of problems. Had surgery.
A smorgasbord.
Yeah. So I had surgery for that and within months was pregnant. But then I miscarried. And then that happened 3 times in a row. We had a couple of different challenges. We had a couple of different challenges going on. I finally, I wanted another baby so badly. And then we got to be, I think it was like, I remember we did one, I never did IVF, but we did one insemination round. And it was after one of my miscarriages and I was so distraught that I wanted to like do something to make it like, and in my head, age 40 was kind of like my mental cutoff. Not that I think 40s is too old to have a baby, but it was just like exhausting month after month being sad again and again and again. And I was like, if this doesn't work, I'm just gonna focus on my photography business and I'm gonna move on. It's gonna be hard, but I'm gonna move on. Like the feeling of, once you've had like multiple miscarriages, the feeling of somebody missing is very difficult to move on from, but I was gonna do it. So I remember my sister wanting to have a 40th birthday party for me. I was about to turn 40. And I remember thinking like, well, this is definitely gonna work. So I'm definitely gonna be pregnant. So no, it's like, we're not gonna do a party. I'm gonna be pregnant. I don't know if you remember this. I remember it so clearly. We were going out to dinner. We were going to Moonstruck for my 40th birthday, just you and me, because I was like waiting to find out if I was pregnant. And I got my period right before we left. And I think you had to pull the car over. I was crying so hard. To cut to the end of the story, my doctor, the fertility doctor, told me that given my history and all of the different variables, he considered it extremely unlikely for me to conceive naturally and carry another baby to term. And I was sure I didn't want to do IVF. I was just sure I didn't want to go through that. So I just kind of like grieved and moved on from it. And it was 4 full years later that I got pregnant randomly out of the blue. She was neither IVF nor an accident. I mean, you can't really call that an unexpected and an accident are the same thing. Accident sort of implies you didn't want it to happen. It was literally my dream come true. And I think like, I don't know if you were as happy about it as me. Would you say that you were?
It's funny. I was more nervous about it than I was about being when you were pregnant in our 20s. I mean,
what do you mean? Like something going wrong?
Yeah, just something going wrong and just like later in life.
Yeah.
And even though
like it would change our life so much if there had been problems or
And even though like when we first got pregnant with Larry, it was like we were young. We didn't know anything. Like if we didn't, it was from a mental capacity, we were probably in a better space to deal with it, but I just felt a little unsure about it.
Yeah. But I remember your actual reaction when I told you was you laughed. You kind of thought it was funny. And then...
Well, you were like, either I'm in menopause or I'm pregnant. I was like, well, maybe we should find out.
But I think at the time, like once and then I bled a lot. I bled that whole first trimester with Avery. Scary. I kept thinking, once you've had, like anyone who's had a miscarriage knows what this is like. Like you're afraid to go to the bathroom. You're like waiting for the other shoe to drop. And I kept bleeding, but the ultrasound, everything was fine. I just bled a lot, and it turned out I had a partial placenta previa, which corrected itself. And then once I was like, and I was also super nauseous, I couldn't eat and lost weight. But by the time I was 4 months pregnant with her, it was by far my easiest pregnancy. Like from like the 4th month up until having her, it was just like smooth sailing. But I feel like in hindsight, I think like once I knew that it was sticking and I wasn't going to miscarry, and once I knew that she was fine, I was fine, we were all fine, I was so deliriously happy. And I think that even if the whole thing made you nervous, I think you were happy that I was happy.
Yes.
You knew how badly I had wanted another baby all those years.
It was definitely nice to get past that initial, not trauma, but that worry stage.
It was hard. Yeah. And we kept delaying telling anybody until we knew everything was okay. We'd be like about to announce it and tell our kids, and then I'd start bleeding again and we'd have to like wait and make sure. And it was just that was really hard. Yeah. So no, she was not an accident, and no, it was not IVF. This ties into the other thing we already talked about. Does it ever get boring being with somebody for that long? Are you bored?
No, I'm not bored.
My answer to that is only if you let it. I think that we're going to, again, get into that. We're going to talk about, we have a whole episode worth of stuff to talk about with that.
Really?
Yeah. We do.
Do the lines get blurred?
What do you mean?
I don't know. What are we going to talk about? I'm interested.
We'll have plenty to talk about. And we'll keep it PG-13, okay? Okay, Mom? Oh, here's the one. This is actually really funny to me when this happens. When people ask, do you ever get recognized? Do you ever get recognized when you're out in public?
Super frequent, but it happens. Was the first one in Miami?
Miami, yes.
Miami
Tell that story, because that was hilarious. That was like, that was maybe like a year into me having any kind of a TikTok following, and we were visiting Carolyn in Miami, right?
Yeah, we were in Miami Beach, and
at an intersection.
We were at a stop sign at an intersection.
Not parked. We were stopped at an intersection.
It was a red light. It wasn't stop sign. It was a red light, and the kid's crossing the street, and he's like, he stops, and he's like,
no, they ran. They ran from the sidewalk over to like, they were like, oh my, putting their heads in the car. They were like, oh yeah, they were clearly drunk.
Drunk.
They were like, yes. Oh my God, are you on TikTok? We were like, yes. And they were like, oh my God. And they're like taking selfies and like.
Avery couldn't figure out what was going on.
We were literally stunned because nothing like that had ever happened before. We were like, oh my God. So there was that.
The light turned green and they walked away like high-fiving.
Oh, that was something. That was something. It's only happened a few times since then though. But as people can probably imagine, it's usually you that people recognize.
The hair.
Like at the airport. The last time we flew anywhere, one of the flight attendants came up to me when we had landed. She was like, are you on TikTok? And I'm like, yeah. And she goes, I recognized your husband. I was like, oh, well, we're together, but I mean.
Well, it's funny because I was walking back from the bathroom and I saw her like just sort of tracking me while I was walking. And then you and Avery walked to go to the bathroom and I saw her dive on you. I was like, I knew she recognized us.
But wouldn't you say, I would say 9 times, it doesn't happen that often, but when it does, 9 times out of 10, it's you they recognize.
Yeah, pretty much.
It's so funny. I don't know if you remember this story, but when we were in the Bahamas, and I think we were at Peace and Plenty, that restaurant, and there was a family at the table next to us, and the mom kept staring at us, and finally she's like, you're so familiar. Have we met? And I was like, I don't think so. And she was like, you look so familiar. Where are you from? And I was like, New Jersey. And she said, okay, I've never been to New Jersey. You must just remind me of somebody. And she brought it up a few times. And then I was thinking, oh, it's probably fucking TikTok. And then she just dropped it. She was like, I guess you just have a familiar face. And I was like, yeah. So isn't the food here good? And I just like, maybe she was going to like remember when they got on the plane or something. But that was funny. It's funny when people like.
They know you, but they
know you from somewhere, but they don't know where. And what are you going to say? Like, oh, I'm on social media. Like, that's so stupid. Like, I would never say that. So I just kind of like change the subject. So that happens too.
And then we have like 1 or 2 raving fans that recognize us.
Once in a while.
Raving fans.
Oh my God. So that is a yes. This one's kind of funny. So the prom video is still getting reach on, well, right now on YouTube Shorts. It's still like, I get comments about it every day. People want to know, or sometimes they just say in like a crude way, you were my second choice for a prom date because you can tell from my face
that you were annoyed with me.
I wasn't. Okay, so yeah, I look in the prom photo like I'm annoyed, but who was I annoyed at? It wasn't you.
No, it was your mom, the photographer.
No, my dad.
Or your dad.
You came home from California to go to my prom, right?
Yeah.
Your hair was like super, super long. And that prom picture, you got a haircut for my prom.
Yeah, I had a trim.
So my dad had a beef with boys having long hair. He didn't like long hair. And you had really long hair. And I remember telling my parents, well, he's getting a haircut for my prom. So they were picturing like a high and tight, clean cut thing. And you came over with like the puffiest ass mullet. Because like you cut the back up. My dad was just cracking joke after joke in general, like just stupid dad jokes. And I was just so horrified and I was waiting for it to get ugly because things could get ugly with him quickly. And so that's why I'm like.
Rolling your eyes.
Yeah. Like I literally couldn't wait to just leave the house. And now I'm like, I wish we took more pictures. I wish I was like, anything else you want to take? Like my parents.
But then flash forward, what was it like probably 6 or 8 years from then, your dad had a ponytail.
Oh yeah. So his 2 biggest problems with you were that you smoked pot, which if all the young people, I guess we should call it weed so everyone knows what we're talking about. But you smoked pot and you had long hair. Those were it didn't matter how much he loved me. It didn't matter how good you were to me. Didn't matter where we were going. He had such a hard time with those 2 things. And then, yeah, fast forward, I don't know, when did he retire? Like 10, 15 years after that?
Not even that long. Was it that long? I don't know.
Guess who grew a ponytail and started smoking pot? My dad.
He got rid of his turkey pants, started riding a Harley, smoking pot, and grew his hair out.
But you guys got along really well after that initial problem. Which we'll tell that story. We have a lot of stories to tell, so that's a long story. So that'll have to be
that story in today's environment would have ended. I would have been in jail for sure.
Why? Oh,
verbal threats.
Yeah, let's not go there. Let's not go there. I have a list of like 10 topics that we're going to talk about, and they're going to be really good ones. Do we even know where we're starting from here? I don't know. We'll be back next week, though.
This is episode number 1.
We'll see where we go.
We will definitely be exploring more.
Is this where we ask people to subscribe?
Sure. If you don't want to miss an episode, you can subscribe. You
can subscribe. Apparently, you can leave a review. You can leave a rating. And, we haven't done this yet because we're still in like the putting everything together phases, but we're going to have email address in the show notes, and also we're going to do a message form. So if somebody wants to like ask us a question or they have a suggestion, they can just send us an email, or they can do it anonymously through our little message form that we're going to have. Like we're still building out the back end of this thing. Yeah, this is us jumping in because we couldn't put it off any longer. So now that we're jumping in and we're talking, everything else will fall into place. Yeah. And like I said, this is our oversharing era, and it's probably not going to last that long. So if you have a question or a comment, have at it, because we might answer it. We just might, right? I will. She might. So we have the episodes that are coming up where, like we talked about, long time monogamy. That's one of them. This is a topic that's becoming more interesting to me, is just like, I know wellness is such a buzzword right now, but like longevity and wellness and just like aging together and just keeping ourselves together for this like young family. We have a granddaughter. We have another grandbaby on the way this fall, which I'm so excited. Hot grandma. God. I can't Hot stop. Grandma number 2. I can't wait. Oh my gosh. And it's a boy. We haven't had a baby boy in the Schmidt family for a long time. So we're going to be talking also about another thing that comes up. I don't think I mentioned it this time, but the age gap siblings thing. Yeah. Like what it's like to have a baby so many years after the other ones. And people also want to know, like, is it different? Do you have less energy in your 40s than your, like, the answer for me is no. Like, we've taken pretty good care of ourselves. I don't feel any less energetic in my 40s than in my 20s. But the difference to me, I will totally go into this in more detail. The biggest differences to me aren't our age or girl versus boys. It is 90s versus 2025. The world is so different. So different. That plus 3 kids versus 1 kid. Because even though Avery's not an only child, she kind of has the life of one for the most part. It's very different, like the challenges and the joys and the struggles. And I feel like there are different ones, in my opinion, I don't know what you think, but related to having multiple little kids versus having one. Different challenges and different, it's easier in some ways and it's harder in some ways. So we will get into that as well. Yeah. And then this is going to be a fun one. I want to talk about what partying was like in the 80s. The number of people who have noticed that in like our high school pictures, you're holding a beer. And everybody drank beer when we were in high school. So we'll get more into this. I think geographically, people where we live drank more beer than... Oh yeah, that's definitely true. Because when I went to college, people were shocked. I mean, I was like 100 pounds. And I would be like, I remember, oh my God, my first night in college, everyone was talking about getting beer. And there was like 6 of us and somebody said a 6-pack. And I was like, oh, each. And they were like, no, like to share. There's 6 of us. I was like, oh. But like, yeah, where we grew up, there was a lot of drinking. Like our kids weren't really, as teenagers, they weren't. But like weed is everywhere. And oh my gosh, do we have some weed and other substance stories to tell. So that's coming too. I think we should end on that note. I think we should leave lots the cliffhanger there. We got lots to talk about. I guess this is where we say thank you for listening. I hope you subscribe. And if you have questions for us, send them. Go right to the show notes for how to send them to us. And that's it. Peace out. Goodbye, everybody. See you next week.